Hello and welcome back to Clay Pigeon Kart Club on the 8th of May 2022. Day 2 of the Wessex Championship and round 4 of the Blue Challenge still in progress, and now it is time for the Senior Blues to head on track for their final. Good sized grid ready and raring to go this afternoon. On the way into this race, it's Dave Watts leading the way ahead of Anthony Cleal, with Joey Foster third ahead of Mike Bell and Kieran Quirk making up the top 5. Tom Parker in behind ahead of Sylvain Vessia, Nigel Vickery, David Waldron and Steve Groves completing the top 10, ahead of Chris Lord, Stuart Gray, Paul Alexander, David Good and Rob Mortimer, with Chris Underhill, Ben Joseph, Phil Shears, Ron Shona and Robin Stones making up the top 20. In the Blue Masters standings, it's Anthony Cleal leading the way from Joey Foster and Nigel Vickery. David Waldron and Chris Lord make up the top 5 ahead of Steve Groves, Paul Alexander, David Good, Chris Underhill and Rob Mortimer. They're going to be ahead of Stuart Gray and Ben Joseph. In the Blue Veterans standing, it's once again Anthony Cleal leading the way, this time from Nigel Vickery and David Waldron. Chris Lord in 4th ahead of Paul Alexander. And in the Blue Legends standings, it's Chris Underhill tied with Chris Lord at the top of the table ahead of David Good, Stuart Gray, Ron Shone and John Hartshorn make up the top 6, with Robin Stones in behind. And in the Blue Top Weights, it's Tom Parker leading the pack from Rob Mortimer, Phil Shears, Ben Joseph and Ron Shone as things stand. In Heat 1 today, Anthony Cleal rose through to take the win ahead of Joey Foster, with Taylor Waldron in 3rd spot. Mike Bell ahead of Ben Joseph making up the top 5 ahead of Robin Stones, Phil Shears, Chris Underhill, Nigel Vickery and David Good making up the top 10 in the first heat. Similar story in Heat 2, Anthony Cleal taking the victory from Joey Foster. Paul Alexander this time up in 3rd spot ahead of Robin Stones and Nigel Vickery. Chris Lord in 6th ahead of David Waldron, David Good, Phil Shears and Chris Underhill this time making up the top 10. And in Heat 3, Anthony Cleal will make it a clean sweep, this time ahead of Taylor Waldron, Joey Foster in 3rd ahead of Paul Alexander, with David Waldron, Ben Joseph, Robin Stones, Mike Bell, Chris Underhill and Chris Lord making up the top 10. And with those 3 heats merged together, the grid is looking like this. Anthony Cleal leading from the front, Joey Foster joining him on the front row ahead of Robin Stones and Paul Alexander, Taylor Waldron 5th ahead of Ben Joseph, Chris Underhill, Phil Shears, David Good and Nigel Vickery making up the top 10, ahead of David Waldron, Mike Bell, Chris Lord, Alex Kemp, Adrian Helps, Kevin O'Neill, Ron Shone, Rob Mortimer, Steve Groves, Kieran Quirk, Tom Parker and Sylvain Vessia making up the grid after a torrid 3 heats. He'll be looking to make an impression from the back of the grid, as now we hop on board with Paul Alexander lining up 4th. Ahead of us is Joey Foster with Anthony Cleal on the right on pole position. Keep an eye on Cleal and the lights, and away we go nice and early. Anthony Cleal with a good start, and he's got a length on Foster. Side by side in behind it's Robin Stones getting his nose in front into 3rd spot as the pack thunders into Billy's blind for the first time. Taylor Waldron there on the inside looking like he's getting bogged down, and a bit of contact there. Mike Bell sideways, but everyone through the chicane. All in one piece. That's Kevin O'Neill down at the back of the pack. Now we're back on board with Alexander. He's got the run out against Robin Stones out of the hand hairpin into the horseshoe. Alexander up the inside to take 3rd spot as the front 2 start to make a break. Alexander now up to 3rd ahead of Stones, and that's Cleal running wide in pit bend, and Cleal's got a problem. That's a hand up in the air. Anthony Cleal, he's won all 3 heats, but now he is out of the final. Horrible luck for Cleal, and it struck him at the worst time. That's going to leave Joey Foster out in front. Then Paul Alexander up in 2nd ahead of Stones, Joseph Waldron, Phil Shears in there as well. As the pack goes down into the hand hairpin for the 2nd time of asking, Nigel Vickery and Mike Bell on the back of that front train. And that's Ben Joseph now trying to have a look around the outside of Robin Stones as they go up through buttons and up into top bend. Ben Joseph, number 4 in the comp car, is the aggressor right now as he comes out of pit bend side by side with Stones, and down the straight we go. Down in towards Billy's blind, Joseph up the inside, and he's going to make the move, and Stone's going to slide wide. Through goes Waldron, Shears is up the inside as well, and Underhill. And Vickery looking to get the run on exit, so too does Mike Bell. They're 3 wide up the Sturmey straight. Bell goes through, Stones now, and he's going to run wide again. Through goes Nigel Vickery. And Robin Stones from 3rd spot down to 9th on the back of one mistake. That's the life in kart racing when it's this close, bumper to bumper stuff. And now Chris Lord is looking at him now, up into top bend, but across the line starting of the lap it's Foster leading from Alexander. Then comes Joseph and the rest of the pack screaming through. That's Sylvain Vessia on the shoulder of Alex Kemp down into Billy's blind, and through goes Vessia. And David Waldron's going to follow him through, so Alex Kemp getting shuffled back as well. Through the chicane they go. Their next target is David Good. That's Mike Bell looking at moving up alongside Chris Underhill in the number 82. Round the horseshoe we go. Bell gets a run. Oh, and a bit of a slide there from Underhill. And Bell up the inside in Button, so that's Mike Bell up to 6th. Nigel Vickery back on the back of Chris Underhill as well now, but across the line go the leaders. Robin Stoddart-Stones hasn't given up the chase against Vickery. Sylvain Vessier on the tail of David Good as well. Further back, David Waldron in there as well. Vessier with the all-white cart, Waldron with the all-yellow, very easy to spot from a distance. Now up the Sturmey Straight they go, and Alex Kemp looking at the back of David Waldron as well now. Phil Shears further up the road looking at making the move against David's son Taylor. That's battling over 4th spot as Ben Joseph starts to scamper away up the road. Then it's Waldron and Shears, Bell, Underhill, Vickery and Stoddart-Stones in a line. Down in towards Billy's Blind we go. That is Sylvain Vessier slightly further back looking at David Good as they go up into the chicane. Vessier up the inside against Good. David Good slots back in, and now David Waldron's got the run on him as they go up the Sturmey Straight. Waldron looking to the inside, and through goes Waldron in the hand hairpin. And Alex Kemp's going to follow him through, so Kemp makes the move as well. Now David Good has to defend from Ron Schoen, try and get back a couple of those positions. The round pit bend they go. Vessier already starting to try and make a charge towards Chris Lord. But now in Billy's Blind, it's Waldron, Shears and Bell closing up. They go through the S's and up the Sturmey Straight. Chris Underhill trying to come in as well, as Bell looking very sideways, trying to go down the inside of Phil Shears into the hand hairpin. But Shears now having a look at Waldron. That was a good brave move from Shears, didn't pay off, but round Buttons they go. Looks like Taylor Waldron's starting to become a little bit of a cork in the bottle here. There's now Bell looking at the back of Shears, but further back Waldron, Kemp, Good and Schoen. They're chasing after the pack as Foster leads from Alexander and Joseph, and then there's the real battle kicking off. Taylor Waldron defending from Phil Shears. It's that 4th spot. Now we're on board with Bell once again, having a little look down the inside into the hand hairpin. Nothing doing there though, but a good exit from Shears. He's going to slot in behind Waldron for the time being. Round Buttons they go. It definitely looks like Phil Shears is the aggressor in this battle. Rounding pit bend and down the straight across to start another lap. Looks like Waldron's starting to lose some ground against Ben Joseph. 4/10 that last lap by. And that's keeping Shears and Bell tucked up tight behind. Chris Underhill coming into the fray as well. As we go down into the hand hairpin once again, pretty much 4 as 1, and Shears has got the run on exit. Phil Shears is going to hold on around the outside of the hairpin, and he's going to do it. Phil Shears up into 4th spot as he goes through Buttons and up towards Top Bend. Now has Waldron got anything in response? The gap there building up behind Ben Joseph, so the 2 comp carts now 3rd and 4th. As Sylvain Vessier making the look at Chris Lord for 10th further back. Through the S's we go. Shears, Waldron, Bell, Underhill, Vickery and Stoddart-Stones, and now we're back on board with Bell. So close to Waldron you could practically touch his back bumper. Into the hand hairpin, getting tucked in, looking for a good exit. Nothing happening though between Bell and Waldron for the time being. Phil Shears starts to get a couple of little lengths away. They go up round Top Bend, but Joey Foster now starts another lap, and that's a problem. That's David Good off in Billy's Blind. He's recovering his cart, so it looks to be a terminal problem for David Good, so that is unfortunate. Out of 14th spot. There's now Phil Shears getting underneath. Adrian helps. Waldron, Bell following him through, but Underhill doesn't make it, and that's dropped him right back into the clutches of Vickery and Stoddart-Stones. Chris Lord and Sylvain Vessier bumper to bumper as well again, but up into the hand hairpin. Looks like Chris Underhill is really having trouble getting past Adrian helps. Robin Stoddart-Stones now up the inside of Vickery as well in behind. Vickery goes through, and there goes Stoddart-Stones. Lord and Vessier follow him through, so now it's 5 for 7th at the moment. As down the straight we go, Bell and Waldron bumper to bumper. No overtaking into Billy's Blind under yellow flag at the moment. As round they all go and through the S's, and now the race is back on. Bell trying to tuck right up behind Waldron. Waldron trying to go after Phil Shears in the top 3, really breaking away. New personal best lap on that time by from Paul Alexander in 2nd spot. Round buttons they go up in towards Top Bend. Stones, Vickery and Underhill, and they've lost Chris Lord from that group. So problem for Lord somewhere out there, but across the line we go once more. 36 9s coming out of Waldron and Bell, 37 0s for everybody else in the frame. Vessia there up into 10th spot now as we jump back on board with Bell. Having a look at the inside of Taylor Waldron the same sort of way Phil Shears got him. He's on the wrong side for the horseshoe. Taylor Waldron slots back in front, but Bell looking to try and set him up. Going underneath in buttons, and Bell up the inside for Top Bend. Bell makes the move, but he's going to run wide. Taylor Waldron slots back in front, so chopping and changing for 5th spot. As across the line they go once again, down towards Billy's Blind. Bell definitely not content with that 6th place, looking to try and take the spot from Taylor Waldron as Phil Shears starts to get on up the track. In behind, Robin Stones has caught the back of Nigel Vickery as well as they're chasing Chris Underhill. Bell and Waldron again going side by side on the exit of the hand hairpin. Bell up on the wrong side. Now up in through buttons and towards Top Bend goes the battle for 5th. Underhill in behind, then Vickery, Robin Stones and Sylvain Vessia has caught the back of Robin Stones. Nothing doing down into Billy's Blind on this lap by. There's Foster in the lead, Alexander in 2nd spot. And there's Ben Joseph in 3rd, the top 3 really breaking away. Then it's Shears, Waldron and Bell, Underhill, and that is Sylvain Vessia up the inside of Robin Stones, so Vessia makes the move. Stones sliding wide at the hand hairpin as well. Now we jump back on board with Bell. Through Top Bend we go. Good exit from Waldron, but Bell tucks into the slipstream. Looking to try and close that gap. There's Vessia ahead of Stones, change for 9th. Waldron and Kemp chasing after the pack as well as Bell looks up the inside of the S's. Nothing doing there as they go up the Sturmey Straight. On board with Bell, going to look to the inside of the hand hairpin. Bell down the inside. He's going to make the move, but he's going to slide wide again. And sure enough, Waldron back underneath once again. Into the hand hairpin they go. Side by side on the exit. Bell on the wrong side through buttons. Going to try and get back underneath again, but Waldron throws the block. Up through Top Bend they go once again. Bell gets the run on exit. He's going to move up alongside. He's on the inside for Billy's Blind. And can he pull alongside? Nope, Waldron covers it off into Billy's Blind once again. Bell having to think through the S's, and all of this is bringing Chris Underhill back into frame. Bell to the outside now, and he's going to break on the grass. Bell drops the rear wheel. He's going to slide wide, and that's really going to drop him back into the clutches of Chris Underhill. That could be it for Bell's challenge for 5th spot. He's going to have to be concerned about Underhill and Vickery closing in from behind now. As there's Foster about to put a lap on Adrian Helps. Paul Alexander in a strong 2nd ahead of Ben Joseph. That gap fluctuating a few tenths per lap. Then it's Shears in 4th, then Waldron. Bell and Underhill now is the battle for 6th. Then it's Vickery, Vessia and Robin Stones rounding out the top 10. And a mistake from Waldron. He's going to run wide at the hand hairpin. And he's being very defensive through the horseshoe, and Bell right back on his back bumper. Paul Alexander now crosses the line, a minute to go on the clock. So not long left for anyone to do anything. There's Phil Shears in a strong 4th position. Then Waldron and Bell, that gap coming back down again. Only 2 tenths in it at the line. Far less now as they go through Billy's Blind. Bell gets the run through the S's. Nothing happening this time up into the hand hairpin as Waldron gets the block. Now down towards the horseshoe they go. Chris Underhill and Nigel Vickery starting to come in on this battle as well. It could well be 4 for 5th before too long, as now down the straight we go once again. Bell and Waldron side by side through the kink. Waldron going to hold out in front as now down through the S's we go. And Bell gets the run on Waldron. He's going to move up onto the left on the outside for the hand hairpin. He's going to go in deep. And he's going to hold it round the outside. Where's Waldron? Still alongside, but he's on the wrong side for the horseshoe. Bell now up into 5th spot ahead of Waldron. And there's Joey Foster taking the last lap board. Kart 66 with a 4-second gap now back to 2nd spot. But it's still all to play for 5th spot. And that's Phil Shears' round. Phil Shears is rounding Billy's blind on the last lap, and Shears is out of the race. Absolute heartbreak for Shears, but the race carries on. Vickery now on the tail of Underhill, Waldron on the tail of Bell, and round the final corner comes Joey Foster to take the win here at Clay Pigeon this afternoon. And across the line, Foster takes the win. Paul Alexander is a very strong second, he'll be pleased with that, ahead of Ben Joseph. And round pit bend goes Bell, Waldron and the rest. And across the line we go to finish the race. Bell in 4th ahead of Waldron. Then Underhill, Vickery, Vessia, Stoddart Stones in 9th. And David Waldron all capitalising with the demise of Phil Shears on the last lap of the race. Absolute heartbreak from 4th for the comp car as Ron Schoen now comes across the line to round out our finishers. What a race that was, and it was won by Joey Foster, 4.4 seconds to the good ahead of Paul Alexander. Ben Joseph rounds at the top 3 ahead of Mike Bell. Taylor Waldron starts and finishes in 5th ahead of Chris Underhill. Nigel Vickery 7th ahead of Sylvain Vessia, Robin Stoddart Stones and David Waldron rounding out the top 10. Alex Kemp 11th, strong result for the novice ahead of Ron Schoen. Phil Shears classified 13th ahead of Kevin O'Neill and Adrian Helps. Chris Lord pulled off with a chain snap ahead of David Good and Anthony Cleal in 18th with a brake pedal snapping off on the first lap, bringing his race to a premature end. Rob Mortimer, Steve Groves, Kieran Quirk, non-starts unfortunately. And what that'll do to the championship standings, Joey Foster now jumps up into the lead ahead of Anthony Cleal. Dave Watts drops to 3rd ahead of Mike Bell and Nigel Vickery running out the top 5. Sylvain Vessia 6th ahead of Paul Alexander, David Waldron, Kieran Quirk and Ben Joseph making up the top 10. Plenty of time left to go in the championship though. In the Blue Masters, Anthony Cleal retains the lead despite problems ahead of Joey Foster. Nigel Vickery 3rd ahead of Paul Alexander and David Waldron. Chris Underhill 6th ahead of Ben Joseph, Chris Lord, David Good and Phil Shears. In the Blue Veterans, Anthony Cleal likewise retaining the lead ahead of Nigel Vickery. Paul Alexander closes the gap in 3rd spot though ahead of David Waldron, with Chris Underhill and Chris Lord making up the top 6. Chris Underhill retains the lead of the Blue Legends ahead of Chris Lord, David Good, Ron Schoen and Robin Stoddart Stones. And Ben Joseph takes the lead of the Blue Top Weights from Tom Parker, Phil Shears, Ron Schoen and Rob Mortimer, rounding out our top 5. In the Tabor Prize Fund, it's Sam Mitchell taking the lead ahead of Mike Bell. Joey Foster springs up to 3rd ahead of Anthony Cleal. Paul Alexander in 5th, running at the prize bubble. And that'll be all from Wessex Championship weekend. Join us again as the Blues return to Clay Pigeon in a month for round 5 of the Blue Challenge. So we will see you then. Goodbye.
Next